Welcome, Leo, to the month of May 2018. I'm Megan of North Star Astrology, and this is another general transits reading for those of you born with your sun, moon, and rising signs, or also known as the ascendant, in Leo, the fifth sign of the Lion. Now, the month starts out May 1st with Mars in your sixth house of health and work and service given, sextiling the moon. So from your sixth to or fourth to your sixth houses, the moon is illuminating your fourth house of the home, along here with Jupiter in Scorpio, another fixed sign, and you're a fixed sign, but you're fixed fire, and this is fixed water, and the moon sextiles Mars, so this is a very pleasant energy for emotional assertiveness, ways to manifest transformationally what goes on in your work and or your health. And Leo rules the heart and upper back area. And pardon the glare, I have to hurry up before the sun really blares down on this chart. But anyhow, right now, with the moon sextiling your sixth house, it's a very pleasant energy for how you feel and what you can do about maybe making a home gym or something. And then on May 4th, the planet Uranus in your ninth house of religion and philosophy, higher law and learning, or higher education and law, trines the moon once the moon goes into your fifth house of where you naturally reside, Leo. And now the moon in a fire sign of Sagittarius trines Uranus, also a fire sign ruled by Mars. And so now you've got this very harmonious angle and trine, which brings about a very sweet emotional ambiance to any kind of romance or creativity in your natural fifth house, to whatever you want to communicate to or through, maybe taking a trip with your romantic partner long distance, suddenly or spontaneously to a foreign land. And then on May 6th, the planet Uranus squares the moon as the moon moves into your sixth house of health and work. And now we see a bit of a trying, kind of a bit of a tension between what you do for work. Maybe the boss doesn't want you to have to take such a long trip, but you're willing to communicate diplomatically and creatively or innovatively. Maybe you work on the go. Maybe you take your laptop to that other destination, but it might be a bit of a challenge. Then on May 8th at 17 degrees Aquarius, 17 degrees and 27 minutes Aquarius, the moon moves into its last quarter phase in your 7th house of relationships and business partners. And what you do here with this last quarter moon can mean everything. As it too, see, here's Uranus and Aquarius, the moon in its last quarter, and here's Aquarius's ruling planet Uranus. And not to confuse things, but you end up having another pleasant sextile energy from your moon in the 7th house to Uranus again in your 9th house. And notice how the north node of your moon in Leo is angling. There is no aspect to that really, but the south node of the moon in Aquarius is now that's a whole nother detail, but there's a bit of a interesting karmic, not in a bad way, because here we have the sextile, but and with this last quarter moon, you have an interesting dichotomy, I guess, if you will. And then on May 11th, the moon sextiles Mars once the moon goes into your 8th house, joining along with Neptune here, but it ends up sextiling Mars, so from the 6th to the 8th houses. And what this does for you is that you can significantly or creatively ask for help from other people's resources in the job sector or in your work. Then, and manifest it, which can transform you in many ways. Then on May 13th, the moon conjuncts Uranus in your 9th house of religion and philosophy and higher learning, giving you that much more of an emotional spontaneity, as well as on May 13th, Mercury leaves Aries and now enters Taurus in your 10th house of career, joining with the sun in Taurus. So that happens on May 13th at 18 hours and 16 minutes. Then on May 15th, Uranus finally leaves the sign of Aries and enters your 10th house of career and public standing into Taurus. And there it will be for the next 7 years, because this is a generational outer planet. And so for the next 7 years, you will have the planet Uranus in your 10th house of career, making a lot of innovative strides in your career. Then on May 15th as well, the moon goes into your 10th house, becoming a new moon. Both sun and moon together becomes a new moon, then trines Mars. So from your 6th house of work to your 10th house of career and health and everything, there's a very harmonious trine, so you can start new projects or even get a new promotion. And then on May 16th, Mars leaves Capricorn and goes into Aquarius in your 7th house of relationships. And there it leaves this stolid placement to a more exciting placement, and or somewhat of an electric placement. Then on May 17th, the moon enters your 11th house of friendships and goals and wishes, and conjuncts Venus in Gemini. And maybe you could love being with your friends at this time and express yourself emotionally and receive. This is the house of service given or love. Well, no, this is love given. So this would be the love that you receive from your friends. Giving, receiving. So this would be the love that you receive from your friends. And then on May 19th, Venus then leaves Gemini and enters your 12th house of dreams and the subconscious mind. And here now you'll have the ability to tap into those otherworldly facets of the subconscious mind that Pisceans do, because this is a natural Pisces house. And then on May 21st, the sun leaves Taurus and enters your 11th house of friendships into Gemini. And the moon, when it makes its way around to your 1st house in the self and body, then makes you embody that much more of an ability to express yourself magnanimously. And on the same day that the sun moved from Taurus to Gemini, there is a bit of a square from the moon to Jupiter, into as Jupiter is in the 4th house of your home. Here we have, so there may be a bit of a challenge to your home life. Then on May 23rd, the moon trines. The moon goes into your 2nd house of money and what you value, and trines Pluto in your 6th house of work. So now we have both financial houses. This is the financial house. This is how you earn your money. The 6th house of work. And so again, you'll have the ability to... Oh, and that's when it becomes the first quarter phase of the moon. So what you had in the way of the new moon is still reflecting towards something new, a newness in a very harmonious trine to your work sector, something that may transform you. Then on May 28th, Mercury it's saying Mercury opposes the moon excuse me. Right, when the moon comes back around to your 4th house, this is the only opposition we have for the month of May. But as I always say, that the moon is a point of awareness, an awareness point. It also can be a bit of a challenge, but having the moon oppose Mercury, you may want to be careful how you express yourself emotionally through your communications with your higher ups. And then on May 29th, Mercury then leaves Taurus and goes into Gemini, and Mercury rules Gemini. So that's a pleasant placement for this part of your life in your friendship sector. And then finally on May 30th, the moon squares Neptune from your 5th to your 8th houses here, and there is the ability once again to perhaps somehow emotionally identify with what you do in a creative sense to spiritually and or creatively attaining others' support. But there's a bit of a challenge, but it's probably going to be a good impetus for you. So with all of this, with that said, I hope that May is a very fruitful month for you, and a very harmonious month at that, as there's a lot of trines. And I hope that what I've said and how you, and if whether or not you enjoyed it or not, I hope that you give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know what you think I could do perhaps a little bit better, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you very much, and I'll see you next month.